welcome to the Black Tower. I'm your host, your brother, your friend, the Sorcerer, Aramanasu. Been doing these videos on all things Necronomicon. Not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight, I'm going to be doing Confessions of a Gatewalker and Sacrifices/Offerings. So it's going to be a two-part. I'm going to try to blend them together. I don't know if I'm going to do a very good job of that, but I'm going to attempt it. With that being said, I'm going to give a short shout-out to Priesthood of the Necro, Sol Harakti, Baron Enzu, Abula Akazaj, and Praetor Nebo. Hail unto thee from the Black Tower. Woohoo, I'm here, guys, I'm here. Okay, but anyway, seriousness aside, though. That was putting seriousness aside, but anyway. Okay, so tonight I wanted to go over Confessions of a Gatewalker. I think of a lot of confessions and seeing how you're not my priest, you're not allowed to touch me. But that being said, though, however, I will give my own confession. So I've been doing the gatewalkings this year, and I've had a lot of changes, a lot of interesting things happen, so forth and so on. So, without further ado, confession number 1. Alright, actually they're not going to be numbered. Anyway, so early on I realized that when I was walking through the gates and doing, first 2 gates, easy peasy, everything just smooth as ice. Real smooth. Easy going, just, no hitches, no nothing. About the 3rd gate on, I went to noticing a certain hesitancy. Not wanting to do it, not wanting to, just not being able to get into it, not wanting to do it, and all this other stuff, and I couldn't figure out why, for the life of me. I went through it anyway, and I went and did it anyway, because, to dare and all that, the Witch's Pyramid. I went and I would do it anyway, and once the gate walking started, once the ritual and the casting in the circle and everything else started, it was okay. So then it dawned on me that it was only leading up to it. And there's a part of you that wants to, that wonders if it's the gods themselves that didn't gear the gates, that only the worthy or whatever pass through. Well, I went to looking at it from a brother of mine, Priesthood Necro's point of view, and I went to thinking about something. Subconscious. And let's talk about the ego for just a minute on this one. So it is the ego that is being purified and cleansed through this gate walking. Well, then that makes sense. Because my ego has had 39 years worth of shit to decide to become a badass all its own, to have decided its own programming and everything, what it's going to defend itself from, and so forth and so on. You think something that old wants to actually have to go through getting cleaned and washed off? No, probably not. Not that it's afraid of soap and water, but, you imagine somebody that was scared of soap and water, how nasty that would be. Well, at any rate, and I'm trying not to be too humorous and crack too many jokes, but at the same time, humor is everything. You've got to be able to laugh about it, because sometimes it just hurts too much to cry. But, so I went to looking at it from a psych point of view, the ego, not wanting to go through this transition. It's, no, I got this, I can do this. Oh, you want to do that? Yeah, I know how to do that. You don't have to do that, I can do it. That's how the ego works. Well, I noticed that after doing the walking, I was a lot more balanced, a lot more just in really weird ways I couldn't describe or explain to you. Any of you who have done the gate walkings, maybe you've noticed the same thing, or similarities, I should say. Not the same thing, but similarities. After all, it was the gate walkings that started in the whole thing of, me actually going about finding out what's on a health level, what was physically wrong with me, what was causing my pain, why can't I walk, what's going on. I'm so hard-headed, as my wife would put it, that there's no sense in arguing with me. Well, she likes to argue with me anyway, so I'm not too hard-headed. But, in the event of all that, being said and done, I think of my hard-headedness as being directly connected to my willpower. Because I'm a very willful person. On pain levels, what would stagger most of you and stick you in the hospital is I'm sitting back going, that's a normal day. I take my ibuprofen and I go about my way. So when it starts to hurt me and it starts to bother me having a high tolerance for pain, it's a serious thing. So this would be somewhere around the, right before the, I think it was Mercury into Venus, I believe, is when I started realizing, and it wasn't until Venus that I decided to actually take steps. And I think that's interesting, because Mercury is the transformative power, and Venus is the love, and it's the love of the self. It's where true love abides. It's where you learn what love really is about. And so you have to love yourself, and you have to love this temple that you abide in, because, for me, this is my vehicle. This is what I rock and roll through the universe in, but this is not me. Physically, I'm wailing. Spiritually, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. But with that, with the humor and that off to the side for a second, though. But I was noticing that, I have to love myself. I have to take care of myself. I have to, actually go out. So, I go and I see doctors and everything else. Come to find out, a year ago, I went to see a doctor about this problem. And, they're like, oh, you have a degenerative hip, the bone's degenerative. Okay, cool. I'll just keep taking ibuprofen, anti-inflammatories, blah, blah, blah. Yakety schmackety. Okay, sweet. Thank you, dude. Gotta go now. I hate doctors. Good Lord, I hate doctors. I hate their quackery medicine, man. They just, woof. You give this medicine, you get addicted to it, or you get used to it, or you gotta have it, or you stop hurting, all this. So it's a nightmare, and it's just not worth doing. And so you're always looking for homeopathic remedies, whether it's meditation or feel good juju juice like coffee. I love my coffee. But then recently, it just, and it was just worse and worse and worse and worse. To where I couldn't even walk my garbage can down to the end of the sidewalk. And I'm thinking, okay, something's definitely wrong. It's time to go find out what's going on. So I go back to the doctors, and they're like, oh, you have no hip. And I'm like, what? Oh, duh, that's what degenerative means, right? I mean, once where there was a bone, there is no bone. That's what degenerative means. But you would think I would know that, but oh wait, that's right. That's where the wife keeps telling me that I'm hard-headed. That's where it comes in, because I listen, I hear you, but I don't believe a damn thing you're saying until I see it myself. Well, in X-rays, it's in black and white proof. It's right there, no hip, and I'm like, crap. Well, there comes the crutches and the pain meds. Yay! Not. Anyway, but the thing is I'm going through all the steps it takes physically. Doctors, medical help, all this other stuff. Get this done, get it took care of, get it fixed, because I want to get back up, get back to doing what I do so well. I do my gatewalking, hurting or not. It's just what I do. Can't stop me. I'm like that. However, gravity is doing a really nice job of trying to stop me and deteriorating and all that. But let us then think about the willpower it takes to do something like that. I've always considered myself a sorcerer because of my willpower, because I'm a very willful being. I'm not a tyrant in the sense of expecting others to be a certain way, blah blah blah. You must do it this way. You've got to blah blah blah. Oh hell no! I don't have enough time to worry about what somebody else is or is not doing. If you want to do the work, you're going to do the work. If you don't want to, you're not going to. It's either you do or you do not. And, and it's just that cut and dry in my world. And that's where, but I look at myself in that sense. I'm going to get on here and make a video. Am I going to be honest? Am I going to be just exactly who I am? I don't have to think about those things. I am the sorcerer Armanasul. I'm Waylon, man. I'm just dead point out. I am who I am. I am the way I am. I'm not ashamed of it. And, but it's taken years for me to be this person, for me to be who I really am. 14 years ago, I was so dead serious, man. I swear, you could have cracked a joke and I wouldn't even laugh. You could have tried to get me to be humorous and I wouldn't have. I get married and 14 years later, I just about can't stop being a goofball. And I don't know what the hell that's about. I blame my wife for that shit, trying to get in touch with your inner child. Yeah, I was doing all right being being the sorcerer, the priest that I was, just being my person. I was good. But, she helped me to explore who I really am, my deeper self, the self that can shrug shit off, that doesn't take it so seriously. So I do credit her with that, and I'm thankful for that. But, and so I guess the part where the confessions of a gatewalker comes in, I think the whole thing is that, there are going to be times when you don't feel like doing it, when it just doesn't feel right, or for whatever reason. But you've got to understand, it's not you, but it is you fighting you. It's not the gods. It's not, you shouldn't do that. No. It's your id, your ego. It's your psyche just trying to defend itself. And so you must continue. You've got to continue because you're cleansing and purifying that part of yourself. You are, and then we're going to halfway get into the second part where it's talking about offerings and sacrifices. Offerings are energy, incense, whatever. And things of that sense. They're something that you give. It's like a tit for tat thing, You give offering and to the gods, thank them for things, and your spirits and your servitors and all this other stuff. And in return, what do? They bless you with abundance and prosperity and all this other stuff, okay? That's offering. Offering is kind of like where you can be the selfish kid, It's like my toys and I don't want to share them. I'm going to share them with you because you share your toys with me. That's kind of how it works in the offering thing. Not with the intent of it, because when you give offering, you want to give it freely. But the truth of it is that when you do, you are given back. Now, on to the more insane one, sacrifice. Sacrifice is something you give, and there is no give back. There ain't no, you rub my back, I rub yours thing. It's not like that. Sacrifice is when you sacrifice something. It's when it's not coming back. You've gave it up. You've rid yourself of it. You've gave it away. You've whatever. But it's not coming back. At least not in the general consensus of, it's coming back to me in another form. No. It's gone. You think of bad habits, things like that as being a sacrifice. Some of the worst things in life that you can sacrifice are your hearts and your morals. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not talking about the ones the world created for you. I'm talking about the ones that you discover for yourself. When people or situations make it to where you cannot be a so-called good person, or you can't show your heart, or you can't be kind because it's just going to get you stabbed in the back, that's a shame. That's a shame. But those are things you don't want to sacrifice. Those are things you need to hold on to because, see, they are the bridge between flesh and spirit. And so maybe morals is a bad word for it. My wife would probably have a million words to describe it or another way of saying it. But this is me doing the video, so I really don't know how you would word that, but I do know that there are parts of yourself you need to hold on to. Gatewalking is a process of purification so that only the best parts are left, okay? It's kind of like removing the dross from the pure. Like my alchemist buddy bearing into a Bulaka's eyes. Oh man, him and his Philosopher's Stone, let me tell you something. Dude got it going on, knows what he's talking about with that. And I find that my practice mimics so many different systems, it's not even funny. Not even funny. But they're ones that I've collected and I've worked through, and it's a system I've made of my own. Well, in that sense though, but then, like let us take Ganzir into consideration. Priesthood, the Necro, made a video called The Weight of Ganzir. And in it, he was talking about like you walk into a room, door closes behind you, and there's a tile on the floor, and you have to stand on it. When you stand on it, the door opens. Well, how do you get from that switch to the door? Something still has to stand there for you to go out, which means you have to have something take your place there. This is in Ganzir. They're making videos and working on this stuff, and they talk about, you're supposed to leave the most powerful part of yourself behind in Ganzir to guard the gate to the outside. That is a sacrifice, and I'm personally working through that aspect right now, with the whole difference of my watcher versus my own ego, id, whatever you want to call it, is working through all these things. And I've been trying to understand on a personal level. You know, what will that entail from me? You know, when you think about a sacrifice, when you think about something that is not coming back, that's staying there, and that is a very serious thing. You know, there are sacrifices in life which just catch you out of nowhere, and they're freaking horrible. Like I had a dear friend, Prater Nebo. You know, may the gods bless him, man, because apparently they are watching after him big time, and boy, am I thankful for that. Guy is 64 years old. He has been into the occult scene for over 40 years. I think something like 44, 45 years, something like that, a really insane amount of time. And this past week, he was out doing his thing and everything else, and he got hit by a truck crossing a road. Woke up in the emergency room. He said all he remembers was walking across the road, and then he woke up in a hospital. Like, what happened? No broke bones. Just had a concussion, bruises, and hurting like crazy. It was interesting that when I was finally able to get a hold of him, because a few hours into that day that it happened, I started having this just dreadful feeling, and I couldn't explain it. And I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something wasn't right, and I couldn't get a hold of him. Couldn't get a hold of him for days. Finally, on the third day, I finally got a hold of him. He finally answered the phone. I was like, oh my goodness, thankfully you're okay. He goes, I just got in from the hospital. I'm like, holy crap, what happened? And, you know, then he begins to tell the story. Well, he talks about that he had the Elder Sign made into a necklace that he was wearing that day. And he credited it to saving him. That, you know, and when you think of it like that, and I might be butchering that, Prater Nebo, and I do apologize. Feel free to sit there and correct me on that one. But because he had that, because his faith and the way it works and stuff like that, and all his servitors and workers and everything else, he walked away. You know, and you know, I'm blessed to have this man in my life as a brother, as a friend, you know, as a teacher. Because, I mean, he's helped me in so many things, it's not even funny. You know, and then the important thing about this to understand, and that's why I guess what I'm making a horrible way of coming across to it, think in your own life. Think, what protects you? What serves you? You know, do you serve just yourself? Do you serve others? You know, what spirits surround you? You know, because sometimes it's not always just a symbol itself, but it's what it is to you, and it's what you've come through and what you've worked through, so forth and so on. You know, what have you garnered from something? Like in the gatewalkings, where you go through and you cleanse and purify the ego. You know, the thing is that for some of us, sacrifice is a serious thing. You know, take for example that when you're talking about the Necronomicon, and I was talking with Prater Nebo about this concerning his accident, is that, brother, you have got to be careful. And that's what I told him. The reason why is because there's something about the Necronomicon, and I'm not sure what, but there is something about it that when you're working through it, when you're diligently doing your end of it, man, there are things that will attack you, that will do this, that will do that. You know, I've had experiences in my life where I've almost been killed 3 times. And that was within a freaking 1-year period. And that's crazy. Not because I was drunk and messed up. Not because the driver was. Nothing like that. And it wasn't because I was in a bad place or anything like that. But every time before it happened, I always remember being warned by this voice just telling me, you know, watch out for that. You know, just a voice coming through. You know, my watcher warning me, telling me. You know. Some people are more adept at hearing their watcher than others. It doesn't matter if you are or you aren't. But the thing is be aware that this is not, there is a danger in this system, but it is not something you're to be afraid of, just something you're supposed to be watchful of. This video is probably one of the worst videos I've ever made, but, I wanted to put so much out there, and I didn't really know how to do it. I really didn't. But to all my brothers and sisters out there, I just want to say hello. Thank you for entertaining this video. I wish each of you well. Peace and blessings.